Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for that presentation. Hopefully, we are all learning and listening. Mayor mentioned it earlier, council member mentioned it earlier. There's about 600 leaders from all over the country at the Hyatt right now doing a disaster recovery seminar. And they're learning from all the things that you guys are learning. That we're all on panels and things over there right now. But I just want you guys to know that. I'm shaking it up a little bit because I feel it's really hot in here tonight. Is anybody hot? Yeah, sorry. But we are blessed and so thankful that you guys keep coming back and helping us on our road to recovery. And we're really moving into the next phase. So we got a lot of exciting things to talk to you about tonight. Before we do that, we all know that we had another disaster. We talked about this in the last session that I was here. We were on Molokai today, teaming up with MEMA and other state and federal partners, and we had about 50 families sign up for assistance from FEMA and SBA. I want you folks here to know that FEMA and SBA and USDA and all of the other agencies with all the acronyms, just fill in the blanks, they're here to help. We are actually here to help. You had another disaster. If you need help, help us here. We can't help if you don't sign up though. So please come. If you're just in the current disaster and say you got flooded, say you have a mold issue, say you couldn't work for a while, whatever, just fill in the blank. If you need help, please come see one of these tables. We have Jim here. And that's what the beginning of this slide is all about. We had another disaster, unfortunately, but Office of Recovery and the county is here to get you the assistance that you need. I met with a council member from South Maui today. They're working on all kinds of things all over. Here are the details on that. May 14th, it's a big day if you need some cash right now just to help. You can get $770 right up front if you really have a serious need. And so you can go into the Recovery Center in Lahaina. Right now you can go to Kako'o in Kahului. You can go to the gym if you happen to be in South Maui. There are staff there. Here is all of the information. Today everybody signed up at Mitchell Paoli and Kaunakakai. So I want to get that word out. I know there wasn't as much damage in Lahaina, but there was some, and there are some people that need some help. So I want you folks to sign up for that stuff and everyone to know about it. So here you go. We're going to keep blasting it. You're going to hear more about it the next few days, but we have some deadlines coming up. The first one is May 14th. Later date, that's a deadline, is June 14th. So if you miss May 14th, but you really, you were able to take care of yourself in the beginning, but you really have a gap. So your insurance ran out and you're out of, you can't actually fix the roof and you need some help. There's a June 14th date, but FEMA can help with that too. Right, FEMA? Yeah. If that doesn't work, SBA, you want to raise your hand? They are here. I know that Lahaina knows SBA. SBA is back, and they are back for this current disaster. They have redone some of their policies and how they do things. They've listened, and they have some really good programs to offer, and I really highly recommend that you folks go see them as well if you need it. Okay, did I hit backwards? And here we go. These are just, we can talk stats all day long. We can see these on the website. 189 single-family homes, 200 units, and Kauulu o Kukuohi, or Kukuia, I'm sorry. I'm not going to read all this, but we are at over 500 residential units. That's a milestone that's worth noting. We have updated maps. So every time I come, we bring a new map. And what's really cool about the map is it keeps getting, even though I'm colorblind, it keeps getting greener and greener, they tell me. And the green means good, the green means issued, and the yellow means being processed. You guys don't need the map to know what's going on in town. It's really cool to drive through town right now and see all the activity. And I actually think it's just going to keep ramping up based on what you're going to hear about here just in a minute. A lot of people know that the Front Street Railing project is pretty much PAL. There's a little bit of work we need to do on the Malka side before we open it up, but we are looking to open it up soon. Actually, GBI completed that project a little bit ahead of schedule, which is great. Thank you guys. There are some hazards that we've got to work through, and we will announce that, and we will have a blessing on that as soon as we are ready. We're working with the harbor folks. We're working closely with Dolbar on this, but what we're looking to do is extend the operating hours to basically match the sun, because we set these times earlier when we had a lot shorter days. Now we have longer days, so we're going to extend the hours to match the sun. You'll see more about that. And you will also see some buses that are permitted to do this. Come in, drop off, folks go straight on the boat, and the bus comes back and pick them up. We don't have people running around town, but that is a really controlled thing that's happening. That just started too. It's a good thing for the community. Here's the updated access plan. Again, all of this stuff is on our website, so we try to be as transparent as we can, so every time we change something or do something, it gets updated on the website. Please go to Maui Recovers or the awesome new county site, which also has a link to Maui Recovers right up front. So that thing, if you haven't seen the new county page, you'll be like, where am I? Like, what just happened? But it's pretty cool. Commercial property workshop. So I get to talk tomorrow too at another thing. If you want to come over to the MAC tomorrow, it's specifically for a commercial workshop. A lot of people are like, how come you don't do that in Lahaina? And we say, because all of the architects and stuff are in town, and that's actually kind of who it's for. It's all of the working professionals, and we're trying to do it at a time when they can finish their work day, come over to our workshop, and then still get home to their families too. So we got it from, like, I think it's 3 to 6 or something, or 3 to 5. There you go. But it's not just for businesses. If you have a question about what's going on in the commercial world, please come to that tomorrow at the MAC at 3 o'clock. Am I going too fast? We got it? Okay, this is awesome. Is this a video? Yeah. Ho'okumu Nights. This was at the Civic.
Aloha, my name is Danae Sedang, and I am a project specialist with Ho'okumu Hou. We are here at Ho'okumu Nights, where we are sharing our resources with the community from Lahaina.
Take this one home. Whoa, 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 yeah. The goal here is to take Ho'okumu Nights throughout the Paimoku so that we can continue to encourage intergenerational connection through Mele Hawaii in a safe place.
There's a lot of excitement going on. You get to meet old friends and some people you haven't seen for a long time. This is the place to be.
Wow, that was cool. Very cool. Thanks for whoever put that together. That was awesome. And thanks for everybody that participated. Definitely going to make it to the next one. Okay, I am going to ask Jeannie to come up and take over. I'll probably have a few more slides, but I'll ask Jeannie to come up and talk about our Ho'okumu Hou programs. You guys know Jeannie. I think Sean's going to come up and do a little bit. I don't think you know Sean, but we'll introduce him. They're both in that program. And then we also have, I don't want to leave these guys out, our DR team is over there. There's Patience and team. Patience going to wave. I'm not making Patience take the mic, but if we need her, we'll bring her up here. But Jeannie, you can jump into this. Sorry I'm going fast. I just know you guys are hot, and I know you have questions. And so we're going to get through this, and then we'll answer your questions. Okay.
Aloha and mahalo for having me. I am going to give some very exciting updates about the Ho'okumu Hou program. So we are excited to announce, oh, I'm standing right in the light, aren't I? Okay. We are excited to announce that a contractor has been selected, GBI. They will be undertaking the Homeowner Reconstruction program. So I wanted to talk about the Reconstruction program again today, remind everyone about the program guidelines, basic guidelines, and also let you guys know, as usual, we have our team here. If you have questions or want to submit applications, we are happy to do that right here for you today. So single-family homeowner reconstruction is intended to help homeowners who had a home that was lost in the fire to reconstruct that home. The program can assist to reconstruct single-family homes based on the pre-fire permitted square footage and bedroom-bathroom configuration of the home that you had. So applications are still open. There are 12 home options, floor plan models, again, based on what you had pre-fire. We have a few of them pictured here, and we're also going to show them up on the screen. So this one is our 2-2, 1,000 to 1,200 square foot range. So if you had a 2-2 prior that was in this range, that may be a home that you would be looking at. Oh, sorry, a 2-2, 2 bedroom and 2 bathroom. All right, this one is a 3 bedroom and 2 bathroom, 1,500 to 1,700 square foot range. So again, if you had that pre-fire, this might be what you were looking at. And this one is a little bit smaller, but 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So little on the small side square footage, but if you had 4 bedrooms before, this might be the option. All right. We do also have some additional information at our table here about finishes, colors. Folks who are eligible for the program can pick certain things to customize their home, so they won't all look just white like that. You do get some options to make it your own as well. So single-family homeowner reconstruction is only for folks that have not yet started construction. However, I know there are a lot of people out there who have started construction and are working to complete or already completed. For those members, we have the single-family homeowner reimbursement program. This program can provide up to $400,000 in assistance to reimburse you for the costs that you incurred for that reconstruction of your home. So as usual, you can apply online, you can apply with us here today, and you can also apply via the QR code. So if you want to submit it on your phone right now, you can do that as well. Next, I know we've had lots of questions come up about duplication of benefits and whether that makes you ineligible for the program or not. So I have Sean, who's my awesome coworker here, who's going to help explain a little bit more about duplication of benefits and be able, of course, afterwards to answer any questions you might have as well.
Great. Thank you, Jeannie, and good evening, aloha, and everybody. So DOB, duplication of benefits, it can be complex, but the attempt here is really to sort of boil it down to a lot of just like the high points. So if you have questions or if anything is not making sense during this short presentation, come by and see me afterwards and I can help explain it to you. But duplication of benefits is a federal requirement, as a lot of the things that the county is undertaking, there's a lot of rules to it. So for short, duplication of benefits is DOB. The governing regulation is the Stafford Act. If you want to Google that after this, you can check it out. But all the federal agencies, HUD, FEMA, SBA, all are governed under this requirement. So essentially, DOB prevents the grantee, the County of Maui in this instance, from paying for the same disaster loss twice, in a nutshell. So the reason for that is to ensure that there's plenty of disaster recovery funding to go around for all of those in need, right? So it really helps, protect the taxpayer money, make sure that costs are reasonable and that these programs are sustainable. And again, really spreading the money around to all of those who have an unmet need or a gap in sort of the funding for their recovery. I'll go into the calculation of what unmet need is, but what you can do is really, if you have any concerns, if you're eligible for the program, apply. That's the best way. Apply to the program, submit your documentation, and let the program review it to make that determination. Once you submit a lot of those documents for, say, insurance, FEMA, et cetera, submit that to the program, keep those records, and then wait for the program to do those verifications and run through that process. So what is DOB? So DOB, in a nutshell, is we look at your total need, right? That's the cost to rebuild your home. And then we factor in all of the other help that you may have received to help rebuild that home. And that can be FEMA, that can be SBA, that can be insurance. And then we subtract that from the total cost to reconstruct, and then that's your unmet need, also known as a gap. So I'm not going to get into the bottom sentences just yet, but basically, after the program rebuilds your home, if you receive additional money later that is for the same purpose of rebuilding your home, you might have to repay that back to the program. That is very uncommon, but that's just a disclaimer. So here are some common DOB, right? So insurance, private insurance, Allstate, Geico, whomever, those proceeds that you got after the fire through the claims process would be considered DOB. FEMA individual assistance, SBA disaster loans, other federal grants that are for the same purpose of reconstructing your home would be considered duplicative. If there's any other state or local Maui County grants that's intended for the same purpose to help you rebuild your home, that would be considered DOB. And then any other private grants, charitable donations that are specific to rebuilding your home. If a charitable donation was broad, non-specific, it's probably not DOB. But you should disclose that so the program can take a look at it, look at the fine print, and really make the determination on your behalf. What's typically not a DOB is food and shelter aid, things that are donated, personal property, clothing, loans that are market rate. So that's a big difference between an SBA loan, which is a subsidized loan, but if you took a loan out from the bank at a market rate interest rate, that is not considered DOB. Your cash, your savings, that is not considered duplicative. And if there's any other loans that you fully repaid, that's not going to be considered duplicative either. And there's a lot of questions circulating around what the One Ohana Fund and the individual and class settlements. So the county took a deep dive into this, into the settlement documents, and concluded that funding from One Ohana and the settlement does not constitute a duplication of benefits. It is not DOB. The county worked with HUD, and HUD concurred with the county's determination that any settlement funds that survivors may be eligible for is not considered DOB. So I'm going to go through just a couple quick high-level examples of what a DOB calculation looks like. So let's say your total disaster loss was $100 and you received $60 to help rebuild your home, right? That means you have a $40 gap, AKA unmet need, right? So really it's about that total loss minus the assistance you received to reconstruct. That's the gap. So in this scenario, Lonnie's home rebuild costs $1 million. This is a little bit more real numbers, real situation. Lonnie's home costs $1 million to reconstruct. She got $600,000 from her insurance company. In addition to that, right after the fires, she applied for FEMA IA, got $50,000, and she also accepted a SBA loan of $50,000 as well. So when you subtract all of that assistance from insurance, FEMA, and SBA, she has a remaining unmet need, aka that gap, of $300,000. And that is where the CDBG DR grants come in to fill that gap, right? So that Lonnie has that additional $300,000 to complete the reconstruction of her home. There's a lot of myths about DOB. I just put a few up here just for examples. But if I have insurance, I'm not going to qualify for assistance. That's not true, right? Just because you may have gotten assistance or you have a DOB, that's not an eligibility requirement. That's just something that we need to consider when we calculate your award for assistance. So apply. If you got insurance and you still need assistance to rebuild, apply to the program. DOB is a penalty, right? A lot of people are like, oh, well, DOB is just like setting me back in my whole recovery. That feels true, but it's not. We just need to calculate that information so we know what amount of assistance that each individual homeowner needs. And also, I got FEMA already. I don't need to apply. That's not true. You should still apply because FEMA is not going to cover the entire cost of your rebuild. There's most likely going to be a gap. There could still be a gap if you have an SBA loan as well. So if you're not sure if you qualify for the program, if you're not sure if you should apply because you did receive insurance or any other assistance, apply to the program. Because at the end of the day, the program will do that calculation for you based on what it's going to cost to reconstruct your home and size that award appropriately. So again, very quick, very brief. I know it's hot in here. So if you have any other questions, again, DOB is very unique and specific to everyone's situation. So if you have any questions, come see us after this. Happy to coach you through it. But again, DOB is not an eligibility requirement. So if you did get assistance from elsewhere, please do apply to the program. So moving on from DOB, there have been some action plan amendments that have been posted over the past 5 months. Action plan amendment number 1 was actually just approved last week. That included the creation of 2 new recovery programs to help further the strategy. Number 1 being the Voluntary Strategic Mitigation Buyout Program and the Recovery Alignment Planning Program as well. Action Plan Amendment number 2, public comment closed last month in April. That amendment really has included a lot of projects that have been selected, conditionally awarded, identified for both multifamily new construction, reconstruction, and also infrastructure and mitigation. And that is being submitted to HUD for final review and approval as well. So what is the Strategic Voluntary Mitigation Buyout Program, or Buyout Program for short? It's kind of a mouthful. The intent of the program is it's a long-term risk reduction strategy, right? So it is intended to acquire properties in a high-risk area, such as a wildfire area, a flood zone, a floodway, coastal erosion zone, and take those properties and dedicate them to open space or green space into perpetuity so that nothing else can ever get built on it unless it's compatible with risk reduction or flood control. Participation is entirely voluntary, right? There's going to be an application period. Interested property owners in the designated buyout area, which I'll get to in a minute, if they're interested, they can apply to the program. But there is absolutely no requirement for any of these property owners to sell their property to the county. And then once the county acquires the property, there's going to be a restrictive covenant recorded on the property so that in 5 years, in 10 years, in 200 years, that property will remain open space and open to the public for their benefit. So this program matters because what it does and is intended to do is to remove those properties in a high-risk area so that if and when another disaster happens, it protects life and property and reduces the cost to recover, right? So if we acquire these properties on the shoreline, if something happens in the future, it's just green space. There's not going to be a business, there's not going to be a home to have to recover from and rebuild at, the cost of the homeowner or the property owner, and insurance and the federal government. It gives an option for both commercial property owners and residential property owners. And it's just one element to the larger recovery and mitigation strategy that the county has. So the proposed buyout area, again, this is available on the website, but it's properties located on the Mackay side of Front Street, starting up, I think maybe around Lahaina Luna Road, going all the way south to about Shaw Street. So in the blue area and the green area. So the property has to be in those areas and fully located within Lahaina Historic Districts number 1 and number 2. So again, post-acquisition, the county's intention is to create open space for the benefit of the entire neighborhood, so that in the future, if there is another disaster, those properties help mitigate against the rest of the community. So it's funded with $50 million from the Mitigation CDBG DR set-aside as reallocation just within that one program. Again, it's strictly voluntary. Interested property owners can apply to the program, review applications, do environmental reviews, and then make offers at post-disaster fair market value, also subject to a maximum award cap. Then again, once we're done, deed restriction so that the property remains open space accessible to the public forever. The Recovery Alignment Planning Program, aka RAP, it's a series of initiatives intended to do several things. Number one, help manage, update the temp to perm housing plan. It's also going to create a new operations recovery plan, which is really intended to help bridge the gap between immediate response right after a disaster and then align that activity straight into short and medium and long-term recovery. Right, so it's going to be a playbook for the county and all of the stakeholders, other departments, nonprofits, and the community, so that they know what's going to happen after the next disaster, who's going to do what, and how we're going to pass the baton onto the next phase. And then lastly, we're going to work on updating the Lahaina long-term recovery plan. I'm going to dig into that one just a little bit, but a lot has been going on since the long-term recovery plan has been adopted. And that plan is intended to get updated to demonstrate that progress, but also kind of get revamped in a little bit more accessible, transparent way to demonstrate all of the various funding sources that have come in to fund a lot of the initiatives in that plan. A lot of it's being funded with DR or CDBG DR, but there's a lot of it also being funded with other funding sources locally and also on the state. So updates to that long-term recovery plan are in the works already. And really it's help increase the transparency so the public and all the stakeholders kind of have an up-to-date idea of what's been happening and where the county is going in the recovery. Also improve coordination across all the various stakeholders helping with the recovery, and help the county OOR really make those like data-informed decisions on what to do next. So with that said, I'll turn it over to, is it John or Jeannie for this? Can you do it? Okay. Great, thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah. Sean's first time on the mic here. That's pretty good. Thanks, Sean. A lot of detail there. Go ask him all the questions after this. He'll be able to answer all of them. I get to say that, Mayor, since you always tell me, yeah. I might need Jeannie's help on this one, I'll be totally honest. Economic revitalization, public services. But I'm glad we hit, on the planning piece of that. And how the action plan works. So really, we talked about the action plan, and then we really just made some tweaks to it with public input. So this is like the most transparent way to do government, and I hope you guys understand that. Like There is nothing that we're doing that's not on our website. And so please go look at this stuff and comment on it. We welcome it. You guys are in charge. We're just taking your cues and adopting it to work for you. That's where the buyback program came from. That's where the long-term recovery planning work came from. So we're really working it. And then all of our partners are really making it happen. So even though CDBG-DR is a really huge help, we have amazing help from SBA. We have amazing help from FEMA. And we're trying to show you all how it's all working together through this planning efforts. It's pretty awesome. So take the time to dig into it. Jeannie, talk about econ and public services, please. Thank you.
All right, as if we didn't have enough exciting announcements today, we're also going to talk a little bit about economic revitalization. So this is a program funded also under CDBG-DR. The intention of this program is to support workforce development and create additional job opportunities and employment opportunities for community members. So this program will be open to nonprofit and government agencies that are interested in providing job training programs. We anticipate that applications will be open in July. And this, again, is intended really to create new programs or expand existing programs in specific fields. So some specific training areas that we're looking to prioritize through this program include construction, trades, rebuilding trades, all those trades-based mechanical jobs, as well as healthcare, emergency response, and hazard mitigation and resilience jobs. So anything in those areas, we're looking to really expand the opportunity. Again, that is a funding opportunity available to nonprofits and government agencies who are interested in running those programs. Once those programs are funded and up and running, we'll come back to the community with information about how they might participate as a trainee, if that's something you might be interested in. We also have a public services program. So this program is a little bit different. It's intended to provide a whole variety of public services. This could look like things like childcare, after-school programs, services for persons with disabilities. So this is what you would think of when you think of your common human and social services. So this program, also funded by CDBG-DR, will be open to nonprofits and government entities who are interested in, again, expanding an existing service or creating a new service to address a community need. Same thing with economic revitalization. Applications will open in July, and nonprofits and government agencies can apply. Like I said, once those programs are selected, we'll bring those back so if anyone needs those services, they'll know how to access those. For public services, we're prioritizing a few different sectors of human services or public services. So healthcare, wellness services, case management, child and family services, like I mentioned, as well as transportation services. All right. Last reminder, I don't know, John, if you want to add to this, but we just want to let everyone know as CDBG-DR continues to ramp up, you will start seeing a lot of our team members, a lot of GBI's team members out in the community. There's a few things that we need to do. We need to do site inspections for a lot of these projects that are happening. So we'll be wandering around maybe your neighborhoods, taking pictures, taking a look at sites where single-family homes are going to be reconstructed, looking at streets and infrastructure projects. So just want to let everybody know that we'll be out there. We'll be branded in Ho'okumu Hou shirts. But if you see any of us walking around your neighborhood, we're not trying to do anything suspicious, just taking photos and making sure that we are doing all of our compliance checks for the DR program.